What's going on, good people? It is the Wolf. So once again, I've been told how many people of you guys have formed groups studying from me and how many other groups out there. And according to the numbers, you guys, well, one, are awesome. Stay blessed, stay positive and in light, be of good character. But a large number of you guys have not subscribed. What's going on here? Matter of fact, I'm going to speak right now to the ladies out there. The guys have you overshadowed in following me with this information. Dudes are out here getting it, but the ladies are not getting it. Or you guys have just not decided to subscribe. So what? You can't support me? It's not cool. It's not cool. Not cool. This is what YouTube tells me every time I get on my back office. It's got this many males and this many females. So I'm gonna need you guys to step it up. Ladies, step it up. Get your game up. Come on. If you have not subscribed, let's get going. Once again, our goal is 100,000 people. All right. 100,000. I got to get the little silver button so I can put it like right there on my wall or maybe up there. I think that's a good spot. All right. All right. Without further ado, let's get into it. So this particular video is done by request for a couple of my CDL drivers. All right. So a number of people over the years with CDL, and I didn't make a specific video on it, but I've talked about it, have asked me, can I do right to travel as a CDL driver? But I'll take it one step further. The question was posed, another question was posed by a police officer. Woo! Okay, so guess what the resounding answer is for the CDL people and for my police officers? Guess what the answer is? Yes, of course you can do it. You just can't do it in your CDL truck nor in your police cruiser. Why? Well, a police officer, whether they know it or not, are actually generating income on the roads. That's why they have to have a license. And they're also considered public officers. When you have your suit on, when you're in the car, you got your bags and your gun, taser, pepper spray, your handcuffs, all them goodies. You are in the active duty of being in commerce. Ergo, you're using the roads for profit. So the private side of you as an American is entitled to anybody who's considered foreign to us to be paid for using our roads. We paid for those. Those roads can be used by public or private. Police do not own the roads. Your cities and counties paid for them with taxpayer dollars. In some cases, the federal government also paid for them with our taxpayer dollars. So police are really only supposed to be out there policing the public and anybody who's causing a danger or a threat to the public society. If you're private, they can't say or do anything to you as long as you're not speeding or endangering the public safety or committing a crime. If you're private, a U.S. citizen, they absolutely have the leeway to come and talk to you for a little bit, not to take up too much of your time, because then it does affect your constitutional rights. A lot of them don't know this. So to answer, yes, a police officer, if he has a secondary car, same thing with a CDL driver. If you have a secondary car separate from one that you're doing business with, yes, you absolutely have the American right per the Constitution, supported and voted on and made into a law on the federal level, that anywhere where the federal government will protect the Constitution, which is everywhere in the United States of America in the geographical sense, can exercise that right and freedom, but not in your big truck. As a CDL driver, can't do that. Do you have to get rid of your license or not be a police officer? No. When you're in your police car, you're public. When you're in your private conveyance that you've unregistered or registered to a private entity or a foreign trust, a foreign name, then, and you do all the other steps properly, yes, you can then do it. CDL driver, you're once again, you're using the roads for profit. You cannot use your truck for right to travel. However, if you have a secondary or separate vehicle, yes, you can do right to travel in it privately. You have that as a right. Don't believe me? You can literally type in right to travel. Matter of fact, I did a video on TikTok and on here too. Didn't I? Right to travel, where I read it out of the Black Laws Dictionary. And then also we did a excerpt on the right to travel, so ruled by the Supreme Court and federal court. Also, I did I showed a clip on my shorts where one guy was addressing Congress about right to travel, and they said, yeah, right to travel is a fundamental right, in fact, under the Constitution. So, in other words, the states got us a long time ago, offered it, and then everybody started just kind of sliding in there and doing it because they were told, well, yeah, if you want to drive, the word drive is commercial, it's for commerce. It's if you're using your vehicle to generate income on the public roads. They only have the right to govern over things that are licensed and that you have applied for said license. But the federal court has already ruled that anywhere where they ask you to have a license, you have the right to ignore that with impunity, but you have to do it the right way. And you definitely cannot use their words. So we travel, they drive. All right. What was we're gonna do? Um, so in Black Law's dictionary, oh, this is the 11th. That's why. Where did I put the other one? Where is my hub? Oh, okay. So I was reading on YouTube on the fifth Black Laws, and that's why I was like, what? It's not on the right pages. That's when you know you're a nerd, when you can recognize that the pages don't look right from different dictionaries. All right. So in the 11th, so this is the modern version of it. We'll compare. Okay. So in Black Laws Dictionary number 11, the deluxe edition, right to travel. So since 1838, right to travel 1838, a person's constitutional right guaranteed by the privileges and immunities clause to travel freely between the states. That's all they say now. So here's the thing. Somebody's like, well, Wolf, that doesn't say in your car you can do this. Okay, well, it doesn't say that. It doesn't say that you can't use your car either. But are you really going to walk from state to state? Are you going to use a horse, a bicycle, a hang glider? Probably a car. But however, or train. See here in this definition, this is what we would call an unenumerated right. Meaning it's not already it's not a numbered right, but unenumerated means rights that are implied if they're not specifically said a different way. So here, right to travel says since 1838, a person's constitutional right guaranteed by the privileges and immunities clause to travel freely between the states. So obviously, you'd want to look up the privileges and immunities clause. All right. But let's take a look at what they used to say in the fifth. Because as we all know, they like to change things over the years. So let's see what they have to say about it in this one. This is the fifth. Right to travel. Basic constitutional right exemplified in case of persons applying for welfare assistance in a state in which they have not resided for the prescribed period of time. It is said that to deny such a right to a person is to inhibit their right to travel and hence to deny them equal protections under the law. Shapiro v. versus Thompson. Now we're going to go to the granddaddy, the first one. See if it's even in here. Probably not. Well, it might be. They said 1838, right? So this is 1891. So it's around, but it's an interesting little tidbit as I'm going through. Real law. Yeah, common law, meaning not the corporation and the private. The body of laws relating to real property. The use of this term is popular rather than technical. In the civil law, a law which relates to specific property, whether movable or immovable. It's interesting. All right, so okay, so it starts off as right. Nope. Yeah, so they probably at this point in time thought that they didn't even need to put that in here. Wasn't a big thing. Right of writ, right to redeem, right of petition. Nope, no right to travel in the first one. So somewhere between the first and the fifth, they added it in here, but not in the first one. All right. So that being said, let's also then take a okay. Let's go. Federal law on right to travel. All right. So here, interstate travel. Cornell Law EDU. I don't want anybody saying that right to travel and immunities right here. So let's check it out. Okay, so this is one of the clauses. So part of it also is, yes, the ability to go, leave, and enter into another state. Okay, so that's part of it. Okay, but that's only one section. So let's keep going. All right. So here it says all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States, meaning we all fall underneath this general term. It's all lumped in. And of the state wherein they reside. No state, here's the law, people, No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property. They cannot just take your stuff like they've been doing. It violates federal law. Why? Because they didn't give you your due process of law on the federal court level, nor deny any person within its borders and jurisdictions equal protections of the laws. Okay. Man, there's so many. So many cases in here that you can use if you need to go to court. Okay. See what they have to say over in here. Okay, here we go. So the Supreme Court of the United States, Supreme Court of the United States, the right to travel of a citizen to travel upon the public highways and to transport his property thereon by horse-drawn carriage, wagon, or automobile. Let's go. The petitioner, John Dalen, denied his constitutionally protected common law right to travel, where the state has converted the right to travel into a privilege. Okay, so here it is. They violated him. They tried to go after him criminally for not obtaining a driver's license. Drivers must produce a social security card in order to obtain a license. The federal social security statutes do not require anyone to obtain a number unless that person is requesting a federal benefit. So they're not mandatory. The police power of the state must be exercised in subordination, secondary, lower, to the provisions of the United States Constitution. Boyd versus United States. It is the duty of the courts to be watchful for the constitutional rights of the citizen and against any stealthy encroachments thereon. The use of the highways for purpose of travel. So all that BS goes right out the window right here, because you ain't walking the highways. You ain't on your horse on the highway. You ain't on your skateboard or motorized scooter, your little putt-putt. You're in a car. Or if you're Amish, a wagon. The use of the highways for the purpose of travel and transportation is not a mere privilege, but a common and fundamental right of which the public and the individual, so the private person, cannot be rightfully deprived. They ruled on this in Chicago Motor Courts versus Chicago. With regard particularly to the United States Constitution, it is elementary that a right secured or protected by that document, the Constitution, cannot be overthrown or impaired by any state police authority. Dun, dun, dun. Make it bigger. That's what she said. Wait, what? What? They do not have the ability to overthrow or impair your right that is protected by the Constitution. So let's read here more on what this already settled court case by the Supreme Court. This ain't just down your local mom and pop little podunk court building. This is the Supreme Court, and when the Supreme Court rules on something, it is law, lawful. It overstands. Early up here, it said that the local state laws and things cannot, they have to be done in subordination to the Constitution. Dear officers, this is what we're talking about. This was 1906. They made this declaration.
The U.S. Constitution as exercised within the limits prescribed and interpreted according to the principles of common law. Marbury v. Madison, 5 U.S. 137. p. 5. Constitution is the supreme law of the land. Any law in conflict is null and void. pp. 3, 5. Miller v. U.S. 230 F.2d 486, 489. The claim and exercise of a constitutional right cannot be converted into a crime.
So they cannot tell you what you're doing is a crime or criminal as long as you're doing it the right way. They cannot convert your right into a crime. If they try or they do it, they overstep, you sue them. Now, let's see what Hale and Henkel said once again.
The state cannot diminish rights of the people. p. 5. We are of the opinion that there's a clear distinction between an individual and a corporation.
So they're breaking it down, which we already kind of knew, but here individual means a living person. We know what a corporation is, but let's keep going.
Corporation. The individual may stand upon his constitutional rights as a citizen. He is entitled to carry on his private business in his own way.
Oh, he is entitled to carry on his private business in his own way. So there is a private side. Boom.
Way. His power to contract is unlimited. He owes no duty to the state.
If you owe no duty to the state, that means you do not owe the state anything. Not taxes, not registering your vehicle to them, not taxes on your house, nothing. He owes no duty to the state. But if you make an election, then you do owe that duty in that area. And if you leave, you have to know how to leave properly. You can't just be like, oh, the wolf read it, I'm done. You have to update their paperwork. You have to leave professionally, remove your things professionally, close things professionally. This is business.
State. He owes no such duty to the state, since he receives nothing therefrom beyond the protection of his life and property.
So they have to protect your life and property, but you owe them nothing. Hell yes.
Property. His rights are such as existed by the law of the land long antecedent.
Law of the land. They're operating maritime law within 1 mile of any water source. Where does the water come into your house? Piping. Where does the water go into the federal building? Your waterways, your streams, your rivers. Everywhere you go, you're almost always within 1 mile of water. They're operating their maritime jurisdiction based on that knowledge. But the real land, the United States of America in the continental sense, is terra firma jurisdiction. Two different jurisdictions that are overlaying each other. Whichever one you plug into is the one that you're in.
Antecedent to the organization of the state, and can only be taken from him by due process of law, and in accordance with the Constitution.
There you go. See if we can find any other juicy bits in here. The state may not convert a secured liberty into a privilege and issue a license for it and fee for it. Yet they do. Nobody challenges them. No one takes them to court to sue them over it. Shuttlesworth versus Birmingham. This is a good one. I want you to hear this one. This was already decided in this case. This is law.
If the state does convert your right into a privilege and issue a license and charge a fee for it, you can ignore the license and fee and engage in the right with impunity.
Booyakasha. Booyah, baby. Simmons versus United States. We find it intolerable that one constitutional right should have to be surrendered in order to assert another one. In other words, we're not getting rid of your state right. Your state ability is not going to wipe out your constitutional right.
The right of the citizen to travel is not a mere privilege, but a common right which he has under the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
All right, so let's see what they got to say here.
(16 a.m.) Jure. 2D, Sector 70. P3. (16 a.m.) The right of a citizen to travel upon the public highways and to transport his property thereon, by horse-drawn carriage, wagon, or automobile, is not a mere privilege which may be permitted or prohibited at will, but a common right which he has under his right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
So what did they just say here? The right to travel on the public highways and transport his property by horse-drawn carriage, wagon, or automobile. So the ability to use these roads, which we know are for public or private use, is not a mere privilege that they can permit or prohibit, but a common right.
Happiness. Under this constitutional guarantee one may, therefore.
So that means it's a constitutional right to use the roads, public or private. See, back in the day, they didn't have to be so technical. All right, because it made sense. How are you using the roads? With a horse, carriage, wagon, automobile? You have that as a right. And they just told you that you do not have to anywhere where they tell you you have to have a license. Well, that's for a U.S. citizen if you're operating in the public. You're accessing the public side of things. So this is telling you right here that the Constitution is for private citizens. This is Americans' jurisprudence, constitutional law. Get the book.
Therefore, under normal conditions, travel at his inclination along the public highways or in public places, and while conducting himself in an orderly and decent manner, neither interfering with nor disturbing. 9. Another's rights, he will be protected, not only in his person, but in his safe conduct.
So they just told you right here, you have the ability as long as you are not interfering with other people, you are good, but you have to make sure that everything is done right and you are private. It says here, Black Laws Dictionary, the fourth edition, motor vehicle and driver. Then they define the term travel and traveler, page 5. I don't know if they have the whole thing here. Here's a gem drop. No victim in this case, no property damage. Therefore, there cannot be a crime under common law. Here they're talking about the right to have a passport, probably no matter if he has child support or whatever else, he's got the right. Here they're calling it freedom of movement under the United States law. Hi, Wikipedia, the same people who put the sovereign C advertisements or work with those people to put it underneath my videos. Kind of funny, you guys are talking about freedom of movement, which is just another word of saying right to travel. It's kind of duplicitous, don't you think? Right of locomotion, where one wants to go once please. Yeah, we read that one already. Yeah. A right to use the road, privilege to use the road. There's a clear distinction between an automobile and a motor vehicle. An automobile has been defined as an automobile connotes a pleasure vehicle. So automobile means it's a pleasure vehicle designed for the transportation of persons on highways for pleasure. So that's why we use the word automobile. They use the word motor vehicle. Whoever owns the vehicle can determine which one of these it is. However, if you get it licensed with them, it turns from an automobile to a motor vehicle. Here they say a motor vehicle or an automobile, meaning your pleasure craft, for hire. Here's the key word. Here's the modifier. Hire. That's their word. If you use your private vehicle for hire, which then makes it this word right here, modifies it. It's a motor vehicle. I'm not for hire. You'd have, if you're going to be paid, compensated for doing this privately, then that is a private matter. But that's how they convert things. Oh, well, you're doing it for hire. Motor vehicle means every description or other contrivance propelled or drawn by mechanical power used for commercial purposes. Hire is commercial. It's a commercial term. So a motor vehicle means you're using it for commercial purposes. I am not. I am operating privately my automobile. The word travel is a broad word. So is traveler. To travel means to journey or pass through or over as a country, district, road, etc., to go from one place to another, whether on foot, horseback, or in any conveyance as a train, an automobile, ship, carriage, aircraft, to make a journey. Century Dictionary, page 2034. Right to travel. The term driver is in contradiction to the word traveler. Driver is in contradiction to traveler. Driver, one employed in conducting a coach, carriage, wagon, or other vehicle. In this case, a motor vehicle. It doesn't say automobile, it says vehicle. Bouvier's Law Dictionary, 1941, page 940. They also call you an operator because that means commercial. Traffic, commercial. License, commercial. They can regulate it. They have to provide you with due process. Many times you do not get that. Anything that they have authority over is a regulation. They regulate and administer over the public, not the private. Surrendering of your rights. A citizen cannot be forced to give up his or her rights in the name of regulation. Riley versus Leeson. Stepson versus Binford. This is law. This is under constitutional rights and laws right here. Taxing power. They gave them the right to tax, but only government, public officers, the District of Columbia, and U.S. citizens. They cannot convert a right to a crime. So now, out of curiosity, I want to see what the 5th edition has on motor vehicle. This video is a little longer than I was going to make originally, but here's what it is, and you guys are still watching, so shame on you. Ooh, they got mortgage in here. Should I check that one out too? See what they have to say? Oh, there's a lot in here. Yeah, we're not going to do that right now. Motor vehicle, QRST. Hmm. They do not have motor vehicle in here. Let's try vehicle. They do have vehicle, but not motor vehicle. Okay, well, let's look up driver then. Hmm. Driver, a person actually doing driving. Now, well, that properly you're not supposed to use the same words to describe the word, so that's not okay. A driver actually doing driving, whether employed by owner to drive or driving his own vehicle. Very lame. Driver's license, certificate or license issued by a state which authorizes a person to operate a motor vehicle. Well, we know what motor vehicle means. So driving is a profession. Okay. Let's see if they have anything back. Driver. So in the very first book of Black Law's dictionary, the word driver means one employed. So that's commercial. In conducting a coach, carriage, wagon, or other vehicle with horses, mules, or other animals. Okay. So let's see. Should we look up employed? Employed, to engage in one's service. Service is a commercial term. To use as an agent or substitute in transacting business. So employ means business. To commission, commerce, and entrust with management of one's affairs, and when used in respect to a servant or hired, commercial, labor. The term is equivalent to hiring. Implies to request and a contract for a compensation. Those are commercial terms. And has but one meaning when used in ordinary affairs and business of life. So there you have it. When you break down their words, they're telling you it's all commercial. So if you're not doing anything commercial, then God rest her soul, Jackie Fig was right. You don't qualify for a driver's license. So once again, to wrap up the video, guys, if you are a police officer, you can do right to travel in your private vehicle, or should I say your private automobile, but not in your work motor vehicle. Now, some people would argue, same thing for you guys, CDL. Some people would argue, well, those are semantics, though. It's all the same. No, the vehicle is a vehicle, but whoever owns it can define the vehicle. If you register the vehicle to the public, then it becomes a motor vehicle and it's no longer an automobile. When you want to do things in the American way and understanding in the private, you use Webster's dictionary. When you're in the public, dealing with court cases, to understand what their words mean, you're going to have to use Black Law's dictionary. Now, here's the thing. There's 11 of them right now. The older ones are going to have more of the better terms. Okay. That's when they weren't hiding it. And they weren't hiding it because they thought none of us low-level functionaries were ever going to start buying their books and reading them. So let's look up so this is the brand new one. See what drive means now. Let's see if they've tried to hide it a little bit more. Citizen's arrest. Now here's what's interesting. So if we look up the term citizen, see what it means in Black Law's dictionary, the 11th edition, it actually talks about a birthright citizen, a citizen by naturalization, a federal citizen, a natural born citizen, a naturalized citizen. So there are indeed multiple types of citizens. The word city in here, which comes from the word citas, a municipal government. So you'd have to then look up municipal and whatever else, but let's keep going here. So I was going to end the video, but that's what happens. It's stuck in the books. Docket. The DOC abbreviation is for the Department of Commerce. So when they ask you for a docket or to dock on the pier, would that be the Department of Commerce or something of commerce? Don't know. Interesting though. All right, almost there. So in the modern book, the word drive or driver means someone who steers and propels a vehicle, someone who herds animals, a drover, a piece of software that allows a computer to work with another piece of hardware, such as a mouse or printer. When we keep going, driver's license, since 1882, the state issued certificate authorizing a person to operate a motor vehicle. Well, we already know the term motor vehicle means a commercial vehicle. Not all vehicles are commercial. An official document or card stating the owner is legally allowed to drive. And once again, they do not have the definition of just the word drive, because we know it means commercial. Anything where they're providing a license is going to be commercial because they're regulating it and they can only regulate what's theirs. And if they own it, then there has to be a way, an opposite way of something, another version of that that they do not own, which is the private. But here's the funny part. They themselves are so big and they themselves are private because you can't just become a member of theirs. You have to be brought in. You can't just walk in, which then means they're a really large private. Yeah, they are a really large private. Oh man. All right, guys, you gotta have a little fun sometimes. All right. That just came right out. That's what she said. All right, you guys have a great day. Thanks for stopping by. You guys come back again. Same bat time, same bat channel.